At 18 years old, the first thing I did was move to London, and I moved into a flat which was like really horrendous.
Not the Pink Palace?
It wasn't, no, the Pink Palace. I wish it had been a Pink Palace. I had no windows in my room. It was really bad.
Oh, how beautiful. Look at how harmonious. Oh my gosh. Ollie Alexander, Monroe Borgdorf, thank you so much for joining me in the It's a Sin After Hours Lounge / pub / club / basement. This is our special place where we are going to come together to get the lowdown on all things It's a Sin. We're going to be talking to actors like yourself, fabulous guests like yourself, and people are going to join us via the computer. We are going to be talking to the one and the only Neil Patrick Harris.
Iconic.
Glam.
Very cool.
Say hello. Don't be stupid. He's nice, sweet, it's funny. This is Richie. He says he's bisexual, so he can have sex with you or me. So what do you want to do? Wrestle for him?
It's such a big episode. Can you tell us a bit about the lovable Richie?
He comes from kind of like a nice, pretty, let's say, normal family.
Yeah.
And he's like the golden boy. He's like really good at school, he's funny. And then he moves to London and he changes from law, like you said, to drama. He falls in with a whole new group of friends and embraces a whole new lifestyle that he just like takes to like, you know, duck of water. But he was a lot of fun to play because he's like hides a lot of stuff all the time. Like he keeps a lot of secrets, like from his friends, from himself, from his family. So that was like really fun to be like, I've got a secret.
You need a bit of a wash.
We learned something.
Anal hygiene. Anal hygiene. It's important.
Key. It's very important.
I loved like how clueless, should we say clueless, Richie is at the beginning.
Very clueless.
Like in terms of like a London capacity, he's not very London, he's very green.
Yes.
And like, I think I kind of saw that in myself a little bit. I liked seeing the growth of him like kind of coming into his sexuality, coming into his confidence and making a name for himself and just being a little slutty. We all have that slutty phase.
He's getting his hoe on.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm pro-hoe. We love to see it.
We love to see it.
Yeah.
I want to know what it was like doing the sex scenes.
I know.
Because you did the sex scene.
So the thing about the sex scenes, they have intimacy coordinators on...
Yeah, what do they do?
So they're basically there to make everybody feel good, right? So they're there and they like choreograph the sex scenes a bit like a dance.
And I loved all the breath work.
Thank you. Yes, that was one of the top tips, all about where you're breathing from. And that
didn't
kind
look
of
like a fake
sells
it
it.
scenario. Let's.
Thank you guys.
It looks so fun and funny. I love when they cut to you and Roscoe's like... I was like, yeah.
I like the reconciliation as well from the guy that you first had sex with to like going back and like once you're a little bit more worldly and experienced, just trying that out again.
You know what I'm saying? He was like, don't worry, the booty clean.
Yeah.
The booty clean this time.
He could tell, he saw you, he was like, that potential is being realized. I love it, I love it.
Because there's a strain of flu and it affects only gay men and it kills them. It's called GRID, it started in America and it's coming over here.
You can't have a gay flu, and no one dies of flu anymore.
As far as like sex education in the UK, did any of it cover LGBTQ stuff?
I had no.
Did you have any sex
It's illegal.
education?
It was illegal when we were at school.
Actually illegal.
We had Section 28 because of the AIDS epidemic. It was used as a moral dilemma and saying that you can't promote homosexuality within schools or public places. So that kind of stopped people like rallying and like, you know, organising against the government or organising to empower each other as well.
Section 28 was a result of just the hysteria surrounding the AIDS crisis and
because we couldn't even go to teachers and say I'm gay. And these kids are bullying me because I'm gay, because they couldn't condemn homophobia because they couldn't promote homosexuality. Yeah. So it was just like a catch-22.
Oh my goodness.
Oh. When did you come out of interest?
I was 19 when I came out. Yeah, I came out to my friends first, and then my mum. And I think I'm not sure. Do you think that's old or young now? I don't know. Like people come out.
It's never too late to come out.
It's never too late to come out, and it's at whatever age, isn't it?
I came out when I was 14 to my friend, and like 16 to my parents. Because I thought if I'm gonna get chucked out, then I want to be like, you know.
Yeah.
It didn't happen, obviously, but it wasn't great.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone has a
gosh.
great. Well, some people have a great coming out story, but it's still like a very emotionally charged time, isn't it? It's difficult.
My mom just kept calling me after a lot of sleepovers at a particular woman's house and was like, what's good? I was like, oh, it's time to disclose. She's like, you don't live there, but you wake up there often.
Your mother's right. It is different on the mainland. It's a lot more fun.
In the show, we see a lot of people leaving home and leaving what they know and going into London, which kind of represents like a place where they can be free. Do you feel like leaving home is a kind of queer rite of passage?
It was for me. Same as Richie, at 18 years old, the first thing I did was move out of my mum's house and I moved to London. Bright lights, big city, you know, thinking I would like make loads of new friends, and I didn't know anyone. It was really tough, and I moved into a flat which was like really horrendous. And, like, my room
Not
had
the
no
Pink
windows.
Palace?
It wasn't, no, not the Pink Palace. I wish it had been the Pink Palace. I had no windows in my room. It was really bad. Yeah, but there's something about, it's like a real rite of passage, I think, and a lot of queer people do it, you know, go to the city or go to where there are going to be more kind of other queer people. But it took me a really long time to actually find friends in the city, in London. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't know, it's quite a difficult place to make friends.
It's tough. London is tough.
Now, one of the most influential things in the show, for me, something that I personally am taking with me into my everyday life, is the la. How was it to learn how to la properly?
Well, it was, I mean, it was a challenge, I've got to be honest, because...
Does one just la?
I know, well, you see it written down on the page, how you're going to la. There's a lot of different ways that we all did it so many times, like hundreds of times, until Russell and the director were like, okay, that's it.
Russell T Davies actually filmed a little snippet for us to tell us about the origin of la.
Hello, I'm here to talk about bits of the script that could do with a bit of excavation. And the bit I want to look at in episode 1 is just la. And I wanted to do that partly because I did that as a little camp kid in Swansea. Me and my gang of mates, when we were teenagers, all belonged to the same youth theatre. That was one of our jokes. There are some people out there who I haven't seen for years who might watch this and go, I used to do that. I used to go, la. How they explain that to their wives, I would love to know. But I put it in because that's how groups of friends work. And I don't think you ever see that often enough on television and in films. The groups of people who spend a lot of time together have these codes and jokes and in-jokes. They might have a funny way of saying thank you or little nicknames for each other, like this lot feminize each other's names, which we all used to do back in the little gay kids in the 1980s. So it was a nod to that, actually, that they've got a joke and it runs throughout the rest of the episodes. As the decade goes on, it wears out, actually, as in-jokes do. It gets slightly forgotten. But I wanted to do that to make them feel a bit more real.
How did it feel to work like with Russell T Davies?
Yeah, I mean, wild, honestly. And I have so much respect for him and so much admiration for him. And I felt so grateful to get to know him as a showrunner, as a writer, like, because if you send him a message, like, he will reply to you within like a minute. You know, like any time of day or night. Like,
yeah.
And he's been such a strong voice of queer storytelling, especially in this country for decades. And like, that's so important, you know. I'm like, wow, respect, you know, so.
Queer as Folk came out during our sexual awakening.
Exactly.
You know, we all had these private moments in our bedrooms with Queer as Folk because we were too embarrassed to watch it downstairs with our parents.
Exactly, that's what happened. I was that teenager, like, scandalised
and
by
now
Queer
you're
as
that
Folk.
person for somebody else.
I know. It was so, you know.
Oh, God, and
very
we know
grateful.
that representation is key.
It's important, you know, it's important.
Oh, well, joining us all the way from New York is the very much alive, thank goodness, all-around superstar, the man behind Henry Coltrane. It is Neil Patrick Harris!
Patrick Harris!
Thank you so much for joining us, Neil.
My pleasure, thank you. This is great.
Now, Neil, we're in the middle of a lockdown, and you had the audacity to break our hearts by dying. Can you tell us a little bit about Henry Coltrane?
Yeah, Russell asked if I wanted to be a part of this, and I jumped at the opportunity to work with him and to be involved in such an important story, to play someone who gets to have an interesting kind of quick trajectory. I thought was super exciting, right? Initially, I think when you see Henry At least I wanted to make sure he felt a little, maybe a villain, adversarial, judgy, prim, proper, and then to reveal that he is actually kind and represents a way of existing that Colin never knew could be possible, I think is a great addition to the thumpy dance track of the first episode.
Yeah.
And then to obviously have it end and devolve rather quickly is one of many gut punches within It's a Sin.
Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. Another pint for the bender, please.
Your character was fab. How important do you guys think gay mentors are?
I think it's good to have examples of representation in various ways, of all different types of ways of existing. I was born in the mid-70s, so it was like the beginning of the internet when I was in my early teens. Like internet porn was AOL dial-up, you know? It was a very strange and sort of different time. So there weren't a lot of channels, there weren't a lot of outlets. I had my own insecurities about coming out and what that mirror would look like for me. And so I think the more representation there is, the better. And thank God we live in a time right now where there are TikTok channels and Instagram accounts to follow, and you can really live within other people's worlds and see how they carry themselves. HIV/AIDS back then was also, as is depicted in the series, was a very quiet thing. I don't know if it was shameful or if it was scary, but it was, people that I found out were positive and then passed from it. It all happened very quietly.
You get that impression, don't you, throughout the first episode as well, with the newspaper in the very small column in the corner of the newspaper about something so serious.
Yeah, and Henry being replaced with another guy who kind of looks like him, and they don't really say what happened. Like, that really happened.
I think it was like a really deadly combination, right? This virus that people didn't know what it was. There was so much misinformation, uncertainty, coupled with shame and like a willingness to maybe, there was to stigmatize a certain group, and then that is shocking,
And I think one of the most beautiful and important takeaways is that every person affected by HIV/AIDS is a beautiful individual with dreams and a family.
We fell in love with you and then you left.
Yeah.
I know.
It was.
Why'd you call it the Pink Palace? Is that the name of a club or something? No. Mommy Dearest bought little Richie lots of things from home, and look. She bought him this. Cat ball wash.
Pinker than my dick.
You may recognize this here.
Is this the pink cup?
It is the pink cup.
Is it really? Wow, that's cool.
How do you feel about this cup? How do you feel seeing this cup again?
Kind of, I'm jealous that you're holding it. I want to hold it.
No.
No?
Within this cup, on each piece of paper, is a phrase. And you guys have to help me determine if it is slang or slop. Yes, this game is called Slang or Slop. Is it slang from the 80s or just a bunch of mumbo jumbo? Okay, so number one, and Neil, I feel like it's kind of cheating because you were there. So if you will help as a special consultant.
I'm excited. I'm your lifeline.
Thank you so much. Okay, first, number one, tubular.
Tubular.
Isn't there something called a tubular bell?
Yeah, that's like the Exorcist theme, isn't it?
Don't look at me, ask Neil. I can't help you.
But that's just a word. That's not slang,
I think it's
is it?
slang. I think it could be like scary, like tubular.
Oh, dude, that's
tubular.
Okay, maybe. What do we think? Is tubular slang?
PH, can you lend us a lesson?
Tubular is slang. It means super amazing. Like, dude, that's totally tubular.
It's totally tubular. Another one! Gag me with a spoon. Gag me with a spoon. I was like, whoo!
What would that be slang?
Slop.
Slop, yeah. What would it be slang for, I guess?
Why a spoon?
Gag me with a spoon.
Neil, have you ever asked anyone to gag you with a spoon?
In the 80s, that was a proper phrase. That is slang. It means that's disgusting. Ew, gag me with a spoon.
Wow.
Yeah.
The 80s was wild.
Okay. Final word. Slang Oslo. Testiculating.
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 What does that mean?
Like talking with your balls, maybe. Right?
Well, you have, was it, when you do it with your hands, is that like gesture?
Yeah, that's gestures.
But it's gesticulating. Is that a word?
Testiculating or
Testiculating.
Okay.
I think you made it up. I think they made it up. Look, they just wanted this to happen.
Have you heard testiculating in your life, Neil?
I've never heard it, but I've been testiculating for the last like 10 or 15 minutes.
That's what's up. Yeah. I can confirm that this means absolutely nothing.
Great.
Yeah.
Which I think we're all happy about. Neil Patrick Harris, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. This is such an important moment, and I just couldn't let you go without a little la.
Yes!
Neil Patrick Harris, nod with us. No. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Monroe, Ollie. It's been lovely. This has been the It's a Sin After Hours Pub, Club, Lounge, etc. And we will be here every Friday after It's a Sin airs on Channel 4 with the Lowdown. And next week, we are back with Lydia, who plays Jill, and Omari, who plays Roscoe, plus Little Mix's Jade Thurwell. Woo!